can never tell, can never tell. I think it is. Once it starts on my browser, I will know for sure that it is actually. Okay, there it is. Um, Hello, everyone. This is Chris again. Uh, Today is the 1st of September, and that's the date for this TextQuest dev stream. I am surprisingly able to pull myself away from graduate work and a little bit of Metal Gear Solid 5. So, we're going to be doing I think we're going to shift the direction that I do things. I'm going to try to do less time-consuming grand scale things, like doing the level design, because the way I do levels is it's very time-consuming. It takes a very long time because I have to go through and do minute details on everything. So what we're going to be doing today is actually sort of smaller, simpler things that I want to mess around with to see if I can implement into the game later on, but not necessarily right now. So the first thing we're going to mess around with is loading textures at runtime from a path. So basically, they're not going to be textures that I make, but maybe textures that players can make, so that we can have something like custom maps, or maybe not custom maps, but custom textures. So you can have an updated HD texture pack or something if someone wants to make one. Um, so that's what we're going to be messing around with today. And let me get all this. Oh, and I almost forgot to tweet. Okay. So I've created a script called File Manager, and this is just a basic thing that I'll be adding to as I go along. It's going to take care of basic functionality in regards to pathing. So it's going to be able to know how to get, right now, the only thing it knows how to do is get the data path for the game, which is actually the data folder, which I've pulled that up. Of course, I closed it. I can open it up here. So when you make a build in Unity, your Windows builds have a data folder, and Mac builds have a content folder that's part of the app. But basically, this is where sort of custom-made content can go. And actually, it's not where I store stuff like save files and settings, because I want that to be permanent on your computer. Well, not permanent. You can delete it, but it's in a different place. That way you can delete it, then re-download the game later, and you'll still have your save files. But this will allow me to basically let players produce their own content, and I can just reference it as long as it's in that folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a. Oh, and also I need to. So I made a custom. This is just because I'm in the editor, so I'm going to be testing this. I made a custom folder, and it's actually in the root of my project, which is where the data path is going to point to. So inside it, I'm going to place a texture and a height and a normal map. Oops. Ugh. Except I'm going to make sure that I copy it and not just move it in there. So now I have two files in the custom folder, one called multicolortexture.png and one called multicolortexture or underscore normal.png. And I'm going to try and load these at runtime and apply them to a material on an object. So I have no idea how well this is going to go, so this is going to be fun. So let's just make a quick test script. We'll call it load texture test. And this is just sort of to mess around with the theory of what I'm trying to do. And once I sort of solidify the direction that I should go with this, I'll make an actual script to handle loading this stuff. But for now, a simple test script I think is fine. So let's go ahead and say, let's give it a public string, the texture path, this, and then a public string normal path. And these paths are going to be relative, so it's not going to be an absolute path from the root of your, hard drive. It's going to be a path from the data folder. So it's a relative path. So once we have that, let's just go ahead and do private. Let's do IEnumerator start. So we're going to have a little bit of a delay. We're just going to say yield return new, wait 4 seconds, we'll say 3. So it'll wait 3 seconds before doing this. And when it does, oh, I also need, I forgot, so let's give it a public renderer, I think. We'll just call it target. So we're going to say texture 2D. Can I do that? Is it okay? I wasn't sure if texture was a reserved word. Texture equals. Okay. I might have to do some odd. Well, actually, I'm not entirely sure how to. I'm trying to remember how. Well, fun times then. Pull this over here. I was doing a little bit of research before that. Just do unity load file runtime. Not runtime. I don't think it's. I don't want resources.load because that's not actually doing what I want. That just is stuff that I put in. I just looked at this. Was it streaming assets? It might be. Streaming assets. Okay, there we go. So it's I guess we have to use www. That's really weird. Well, we'll try it. See if is that yeah. I thought this was for internet, but it seems like it's also for. I should have brushed up on this before I started. But hey, it's half the fun. Let me see. So we want to do www. See, yeah, we don't want to do that. Screw it. We'll just do using system.io. So I think we want to do file.get. That's just going to make a file. Yeah, let's be a little more specific. Yep, I love Googling things. It's occasionally actually very, very useful. Let's just do unity load texture from file. Which is, yeah, I think that's what I was looking at. Really? Read all bytes. Oh, I think this is the thing I was looking at. Right. Had its problems though. But you know. I guess I could try file.read all bytes. See what happens. Does that actually return? It gives me a byte array. Okay, so read all bytes, and it's going to be file manager dot data. Oh, did I not make that? Oh, right, that's not static. It should be static. I think that should be fine. I don't think I have to have file manager actually be a thing. So I think I'm pretty sure I can just have it do this. Unless I end up having it load stuff from a asynchronous format. but that shouldn't be a problem. So dot data path. Let's just, actually, was I smart? I was. Although I will also do this. Let's do custom path. And this is just going to be return data path plus custom, which I'll probably end up plus path.directory separator. I'll probably end up making this a constant up here. Might as well do that now, actually. Private const string. That way I can change it later if I want to. Yeah, let's call it dir custom. So directory custom equals custom. So now it's just a constant value that I can reference. I don't have to worry about changing it multiple times. I can just change it once up here. So that'll give me that. So this will actually be custom path plus texture path, which is not in quotes, or it shouldn't be. Okay, so that's giving me the bytes for that, and if I remember correctly, I actually want to load it in. So I'm basically going to do this. So there's going to be file.read all bytes. Let's see if this works. Might as well just call it text then. So if that's the case, and then we're going to say target dot material dot main texture equals text. So hopefully, also I'm going to try target dot material dot. Do I have a normal? Ah, no. I wonder if there's a way to set that. There's a way to set properties, and I forget what it is. It's like set texture, and then you have to give it the... Yeah, you have to give it the property name, which would be... Honestly, I don't even know. This is going to be different. So that line's going to be us applying our normal map. I want to try and get both base texture and normal maps in there. Just because once I have those two in there, that's basically all you need, and everything else is gravy. Or can be tweaked at some level through code without having to load more stuff. So, okay, so let's load that. See if I get any errors. I'm gonna go ahead and make a cube. Zero it out. Let's move our main camera in a bit. So I should be able to see everything whenever it spawns in. Move this down, go up, and let's go slightly off center and to the side. That way I can at least... Oh. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. Oh, because I keep hitting Control, not Alt. Bouncing back and forth between Mac keyboards and PC keyboards can be quite confusing. Okay, so that's there. And let's just make a test object. Not test, just test. And we're going to add our load texture test. It is going to look at the cube, and the texture path is going to be, what was it? So it's going to be multicolor texture.png, and then I'm going to copy that, just because the height is or the normal is basically the same with just an underscore normal. Okay. So let's play it and see how bad it is. Oh, well, there we go. Super easy. I like it when it's super easy. I'm willing to bet that there's probably a lot of memory considerations with this, though, because it probably loads that texture into memory. So if I ever want to make this like a practical thing, I'll have to always be unloading unused memory. So that's going to be fun to keep track of. But that's actually pretty nice, though, that it's pretty easy to go through that and add that. Okay, so if that's the case, what are my options here? It is a standard. Does it have? It does have a normal map. I think. Ugh. Let me see if I can download the standard shaders from here. I don't remember if I can. Probably not. Hold on, let me find it. You use, or I don't know if you can download the newest ones, but normally, or in the past, they let you download their built-in shaders. Oh, here we go. Or maybe not. Can we download it? Here we go. That's not 5.2, but that's fine. Built-in shaders. Open that up. Includes speed tree. Let me drag this over here, I guess. I don't remember if they have standard or not. I would hope so. Standard shader. Yeah, there we go. So let me open up Unity. I'm just going to drag this right into the test. Oh, and I can't because it's oh, that's no. Not because I can't, because it is a preview. It was not actually, it didn't extract the, it hadn't extracted the stuff from the zip yet. So downloads, I forget what that was called, but built-in shaders, let me extract all. Extract. So yeah, everyone enjoying Metal Gear Solid 5, I assume. Oh! Hello, Toyger101. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. Got that email last Friday. I was just perusing my email on my phone, and I'm like, oh! Really? I have no idea what the requirements I had met were. I did not. I don't want the skybox shader. I want the standard shader. Drag this in here. So let's take a look at this code. Probably don't actually need to, but I want to because I think I can just see the normal stuff here. Probably detail normal map. Yep, it was very exciting. It was very exciting. Of course, now that's more pressure to, get everything finished. And, it's not like I was ever going to crap out anyway, but now I really feel the pressure of trying to get it done on time and get it out so that people can enjoy it. Oh, that makes me happy. I probably should stop by your stream sometime and say hi. I occasionally stop by there, but something always seems to come up that pulls me away whenever I want to stop and watch. Yeah, you should tell her I say hi if you go watch her stream tonight. I don't know if she's doing one tonight or not. But yeah, I'm glad that I got to thank her for sending people my way. So let's see. I'm looking for detail normal map, I think. Yeah, I want detail normal map. So we want that. Let's go back to load texture test. All right. Thank you very much. I will keep up the good work. I must. So let me copy this and move this. I will also do this and say normal path. Oops. Oh wow, really? It's already been a year. Man, I time flies. It does not seem like it's been a year since. Well, thank you very much. I might actually stop by. Well, if she starts at 9, I'll probably wrap up because this is going pretty smooth. I'll probably wrap up around that time, so I might stop by and say hi. But in case I don't, yes, I would very much appreciate someone saying thank you for me. um, so yeah, it makes me feel old actually how fast time flies. It's already, yeah, this is already 2 years in development, and it seems like just yesterday that I started it and pitched it. Um, so I might actually do a file.exists. But yeah, I appreciate you stopping by. I don't get very many viewers, and I was especially not expecting viewers tonight on the day Metal Gear Solid 5 came out. Um, just because I know how much I've been playing it, and I've been playing it way too much. So target material dot set texture. Okay, I think that's fine. That's what we want. So let's move this back down below the other stuff. Move this up and get rid of the white space at the bottom. I think that all should work. So if we're lucky, then when we play, it will not only have the color, but it will also have the normal map. Oh, nope. Oh, thank you. I guess I should say like do all the subscribe, follow things. I don't know what Twitch is. Is it? It's follows, views, follow. Yeah, I think it's follows. Shows how much I know. But let me get this. I forgot to copy this over. Yeah, just because the more people who follow it, uh, the more I guess exposure it gets. I'm not sure how Twitch's system works, but more is better, I suppose, in these regards. So that should fix that compiler error. Yeah, I appreciate you keeping an eye on it. And okay, so the texture was applied, but was the normal? Yes, but it was the wrong one. Okay. So that means that this shader, I wasn't looking at the right thing. Let's see. So, normal map. I mean, that's what it's called, the detail or normal map, not. Oh, well, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm not terribly great at most of the social media stuff. I've been trying to keep my head above water there, but it's just me working on this and doing all the marketing and all the development, so it's hard to juggle both sides, and often I can't do long periods of development without having to stop like every 2 hours or so to do some sort of management marketing thing. So let's see. So it has a normal map. It's two normal maps, which is just lovely. I guess let's. Oh, so it's bump map. That's what we want. Okay, let's try this again. Yeah. Yeah, but that's no excuse. I mean, whenever you say that, or whenever someone says, it's just so hard because I have so much to do, that really just sounds like complaining. And I know that it's probably not in most people's cases, but doesn't really change it. Um, so it looks like it actually did get applied. Good, it did. I might. Oops, wrong button. So it's hard to see, but we do have some there. I might just stick a different normal in there so that we can have some really, really weird, wild normal. Let's just have one that I've been working on in the castle. Da, 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 da. Let's put in Stonewall. Yeah, Stonewall. Let's call it Stonewall normal. So let's replace this with Stonewall normal. And let's cut this down to 2 seconds. We don't have to wait 3 seconds each time. And magic. Oh, it's kind of hard to tell, but that's disappointing. Or did it not load? No, it did. Ah, there it is. It's just hard to see it properly. Okay, that's good. So, yay! We have both normals and textures loading in. They're just kind of wonky and hard to see, which is odd. Probably just because it's a flat square or a flat cube, which means that it's not going to have much there. Okay, so well, that's good. I'll probably not worry too much about the memory performance right now, but I might try. It is magic. Half the time when I'm working, I'm just like, is it gonna work? And then it does, and then I'm amazed. And after like 3, 4 years in programming, I really shouldn't be that amazed. But let's see. So that's okay. I probably should actually expose just to make sure. Public normal. Oh, sorry, it's gonna be string. Normal. Let me hover. Prop name. That's not exactly well named, but. And then now we'll replace this with normal prop name. So this way I don't have to specify or hard code that. I can more flexibly do it. I also might just turn this into a regular function. Okay. So that's all there. I honestly thought this was going to take me a lot longer tonight. So, I guess we could look at some of the other stuff and see what else I could add. We do detail, occlusion, which I don't have any real occlusion stuff baked out. But I could add a height map. That probably wouldn't hurt. Yeah, I always worry that I'm going to be working on something that's not real interesting for people to watch. And sometimes that's the case, and it's not great, and sometimes it is boring, but it's something that I personally enjoy talking about. Like probably at some point in the coming weeks, I'm going to be adding some features to my parser, and when I do that, I'll just be gushing for about 40 minutes about how my parser works, and I'm sure nobody on Earth will care. But personally, it will be very, very exciting. Um, So what was I going to do? I was going to do height map, right? So what's it called? Parallax map. I love how they don't name these things very similar. So let's go back to load texture test. Let's go public string height prop name equals that. We're going to do a public string height path equals. Yeah, that's true. But it's, well, I guess it's not rare for developers to watch other developers. I know I do that. But I mean, there is some sort of wall there when you start talking at really low levels of programming. Like if I just started spouting about, uh, you know, specific syntax for C# versus JavaScript, some people might find that fun. Some people might not. And I always worry that I'm going to land on the more not fun side of that for, people who don't know about programming. And I don't want to just have a channel that's just about programming because I'm not very good at it. I am adequate at programming. So we're going to do something very similar with this. Or we're just going to do if file exists map plus height path. Oops. Hate it when I do that. Copy this over. Call this height. All that stuff. Height prop name. Okay. So this should let me load in a height map now, which I don't have, but I will drag in the stone wall one again. Oh, I didn't realize that I copied over the painting one. It's fine. Let's go back to test here. Let's do height.png. And you know what? While we're at it, since I've clearly just, moved the stone wall over, might as well just have stonewall.png be my normal texture from now on. Okay, so now when I play, it should all load. If I hit pause, go in here. What do we got? We do have a height map, which is nice. It's not obscenely... Oh, wow! Oh! That caught me off guard, how social media to channel painters. Really? I didn't put it... Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I should do that. I think the website has... It's awkward because the website is sort of deliberately meant to be like a, early 90s style website. That's why it's really basic. It's got that black, like white on black, which is very bad design. But at the very bottom, there's actually two different icons, one for Twitter and one for Google Plus. But they're for the company. They're not for me specifically or for TextQuest specifically, although I should probably redirect it to be TextQuest, not Sleepy Owl Software, which is my company. Also, I am not very humble. Actually, I am incredibly arrogant. I try very hard. I have a very self-depreciating personality because that's the only way to keep my ego in check. I actually like this a lot. That's really awesome. The height map stuff. I've never really messed with bumping the height up that much, but that is really, really nice. So yeah, loading that in at runtime's pretty good. Now the other thing, I guess is going to be, well, I would have to come up with a good in-game editor for that. I've got a couple of minutes, so I'm going to try to throw together a quick resources UI. I'm going to throw together a quick a quick interface that will let people basically type this stuff in at runtime, um, so that they can load stuff and test it out. I'll probably not end up having that be in the final game exactly as it is, because the end goal for this is to allow people to make their own models and import them into TextQuest and maybe make their own levels. But I have no idea if I'm going to be able to actually make that happen. So let's go ahead and just add UI input field. Let me scroll out. Let's maximize this. That way I can see what I'm doing. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and do a UI image. Just give it the square I have. We're going to make this all along the left side. Call it panel. I can spell, but I can't. And we will make it pivot of 0 and a width of 200, I think. No, let's try 400. It's going to be pretty wide for now. Also going to make it dark. And about 200, semi-transparent. So below this, we are going to have a slider for the height map. Call it height slider. Zoom in here because I can't see it very well. Well, like I said, I love Metal Gear Solid. If I if I did not have very, very pressing matters to attend to, I probably would just play that. That's the big one right now. And I'll play Fallout 4 when it comes out. Although from what I've heard, I'll probably grumble my way through that a bit, just because it sounds like they're streamlining, which means removing some things, and I'm not particularly happy about that. But can't win everything. Also, that's not going to be so slider. We're just going to make a label. And the inspiration stuff, it's actually very strange. TextQuest would probably never, I would never have guessed that TextQuest would be the first game, like first big game that I worked on. Because I don't know if Lawrence talked about it, but she and I were both in the student game development group at IU where we went to, I mean, we were at IU together, but we weren't really in the same classes for the most part. But I grew up playing Nintendo games, on the N64, SNES, NES stuff. So I prize, what would it be? Intuitive mechanics over all else, basically. And the text-based genre is just not intuitive at all. It is probably the least intuitive thing ever. Just by the nature of the beast. I have no idea why. Oh, you're playing Mad Max? Is that any good? It looks like they sort of took the combat system from Batman, so that sort of like smooth flowing controlling combat system. But aside from that, I couldn't really tell anything about its story or anything like that, so I don't know if it's any good or not. Left is going to be, so yeah, I think it was 50. Let's call it height. We'll do that. And I also probably actually will just go ahead and make that 0.3. Make that 18. But yeah, like I was saying, I grew up playing a lot of Nintendo games, and that kind of rubbed off on me design-wise. I try to make really intuitive games the best I can, and text games are not intuitive at all, which is why it's kind of nice because it's a really cool challenge to try and make a game that is actually very intuitive. Um, so yeah, it's an interesting thing. Try and zero these out. I hate how the ones they automatically generate just because they're so nasty. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure about the driving stuff. I didn't see much on there. But I'm sure it's interesting. Um, slider and height slider. It's probably gonna be like 50 slider instead of 50. Let's make it 23. Uh oh, that's either a good thing or a bad thing. Um, okay, let me get this. Why is the label wrong? Oh, because that's why. I say it's really throwing me off there. So actually, let's put the slider at 0.35. We have some space there. Change this to height, semicolon. I'm going way too much into what should basically just be a quick throwaway thing. So I think if I change this real quick. Yeah, okay. So slider, fill, area fill. Background is don't fill center. Interesting. Hmm. Interesting. Don't know why it's acting up, but it is. Weird. Oh, it's because I zeroed out the height. That's why. And then 5, 5, 5, 5. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted by making this work properly. It looks hideous, but it's fine. It's good enough. But yeah, that's kind of what the goal is to make the text-based genre, the parser-based text-based genre, a lot more intuitive and fun for people. So hopefully, um, and from what I've play tested so far, yeah, yeah, I always forget. I was just quickly going through and zeroing everything out, but I forget that the height is one of these things. And input fields, I'm not worried about that for now. So that should all be fine. This is just going to be a really nasty quick test. So scripts test. Just go ahead and make a C# script. Texture edit view. Probably be good. Let's say using, if I can spell, games.common and game view. Then public. Oh, wait, I almost forgot. Using Unity Engine .ui. We're gonna have a public slider, height slider. private void awake. So we gotta add event listeners. Private void on height view changed. Float, not flop it. Value. But yeah, I was actually surprised that they released Mad Max today. That seemed like a really bad time to release a game because it was going up against Metal Gear Solid 5, that's a no-win scenario. I'm just gonna cheat here. I'm gonna say public renderer target. Target dot material. I think we're gonna do set float, and that's gonna be that value. Okay, so that's probably gonna end up being parallax. And one last thing, which will be height slider dot on value changed dot add listener on height value changed. Okay, so what this is doing is it's basically taking it's looking at that slider and it's looking at the target that we have in there, and whenever I change the slider values, it's going to update the height map on there. And in the future, this will probably get fleshed out to do more things, but for now, I just wanted to see what I could do with changing variables on the fly to let people preview them if I'm going to do that. I don't know if that's going to be a good idea or not, because it would be kind of awkwardly loading in things at runtime as opposed to just loading them in at the beginning and then running with them. So texture info, and it is texture edit view. There's your root. Its height slider is right here, and the target is the cube. Okay, let's see if this works. So that's there. Well, I'm not getting a null reference, but I might end up moving my camera just a wee bit closer. Yeah, I didn't actually get to play Batman Arkham Knight before it got taken down off of Steam. Which, it's probably fine. I kind of missed the Batman wagon. I have the other two games, but I definitely came in late on them. I was nowhere near as attached as everyone else was. So hopefully, I think that's going to be good, so we can actually see any changes that occur. Because it doesn't look like there's any showing up. Which, maybe there's not. Oh, that's weird. So it has to, ooh. Also, that's incredibly nasty. Yeah, so it was... Maybe I had to call texture.apply. Yeah, but that shouldn't be the case. I think there's a texture.apply. Let me go back here. It's target dot, not insert, dot material dot up. Nope. Really? Maybe I don't need to do that then. Yeah, that is very odd though. That it loads everything in there, but it doesn't actually become tweakable until something else happens. Like I have to open the shader up, and then it suddenly changes. So my height map is clamped between. Oh, okay. So it's clamped between 0.005 and 0.08, I think. Let me change my slider to match that. 0.005 and 0.08. Okay. It's super weird. But then as soon as I open this up, it does. So that's something I'm going to have to mess around with. But yeah, okay, so I can tweak these value. Oh. Yeah, well, it was applicable to both situations. So, yeah, it is. Both of them are tweakable if you do some, or both of them are playable if you do some tweaks. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I was saying, I just played Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham City probably a month or two ago for the first time. Well, I played Arkham Asylum a long time ago, around when it first came out, but I didn't really get into it. Um, and that was just because I have this weird tendency of I didn't own it. I was borrowing it from a friend, and I have a weird tendency to just not finish games if I don't own them. I have no idea why, but I don't think I've ever borrowed a game from someone that I finished. Mostly because the games that I actually like, I buy. Um, and then, of course, I bought it later and I played through it and I absolutely loved it. I just don't know why I didn't like it when I was younger, like a couple years ago when it came out. But um, I actually wonder if I can just do a new material here. Hmm. Oh no, I'm sorry. Can I do an instance? No, I can't. Create? Nope, I can't. Weird. Okay. Well, in that case, we'll just say new mat equals. So this is making a new instance, I think. We'll say new mat and then new mat, and then target dot material equals new mat. See if that works. Yeah, I'm terrible at jumping between games though. I have my play style is basically I get a game and I sit down and I play it into the ground. Like I play it so it makes an instance of it, but it still doesn't apply anything until I open it up. Super weird. But yeah, I play a game basically into the ground. So um, it's weird. I also think it's kind of just creating an offset face. Um, so for example, with Fallout New Vegas, when I first played that, I played I play it until I'm sick of it. Basically, all the games that I like to play, I just play them until I'm sick and don't touch them for 5 years. But when I played New Vegas, for example, I played it for the entire campaign, including all DLC, and I did that. Got both the Mr. House and Independent New Vegas ending, and then I went through again and played it for the Legion ending. And I think by that time I was just sick of it because I had been playing for probably like 500 hours straight. And then I put it down, didn't pick it up for like 5 years. But yeah, it's probably not a very healthy way to play games. But um, okay, so that's nice that I can get the stuff tweaking or tweakable. It's just weird that it has to open up like that. I wonder if I can do like a new mat something. Let's see what my options are. New mat dot. Weird. I can do like a target dot rebuild or something like that. Well, maybe. You never know. You really get intimate knowledge about a game that way, though. Yeah, maybe. Again, on your for games like that, because the playtime is so long, you're disgusted when you're done with it. It's fine on shorter games. Um, stuff like Star Fox. Um, you can play that 10 billion times and never really get sick of it, just because it's a lot faster paced and it's only like an hour long. But for like 200-hour long RPGs, you just can't play those very like back to back, or at least I can't. Um, so I'll have to look this up, I think. Let me pull up a drive. Oh, and I guess before I forget, I had made a app script, an add-on for Google Sheets. So if anyone needs to export CSV or spreadsheets as JSON or XML, you can feel free to download it. It is free for everyone to use. And I just wrote that because it'll make my work easier, and I figured I might as well share it with people. So let's go to DevStream topics. So I can cross that off now because it works. So we're going to go ahead and add in parentheses 21.9. Wow, that's the 16 by 10, right? No, that would be larger than that. That's a really, really wide aspect ratio. I mean, in theory, I think it can do that already. I think. Let me test real quick. Or actually, I wonder if my current build will work or not. Well, it should be fine. Actually, let me test that. I can test that for you right now. Let me see. Build and run. Oh, didn't mean to do that. But oh, I got an error. Why do I have an error? Probably something with editors. Oh no. Great. I got a stupid error. Fine. So what's that saying? Combine. Weird. Okay. Well. Crap. Then I guess I'm going to do this. So I can just cheat. So that should... Oh, well that would be why. Right. That's fine. Because I was being dumb. Yeah, I guess the ultra wide stuff, that is true. It's becoming more popular. I don't know. I feel like I've just never been able to really work with that wide of an aspect ratio. I feel like I got fish eyes. But in theory, let me try rebuilding this. That was a stupid editor code problem. So yeah, splash fade. Okay, so all that should work. So in theory, the way that the UI really, what do we got this time? You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna do this. Now it will work because it's dumb. Well, I mean, I guess I've said that about a lot of things before, and now I can never go back. The new monitor, I just got a new monitor about a month or so ago, and it's not a higher resolution, which I wish it was, but it's 120 hertz, and I've only ever had 60 hertz, and now I can't really go back to 60 hertz. So, but yeah, in theory, TextQuest already supports that resolution, just because the way the canvas works. The canvas is the UI shape, because the UI is really the only thing that's affected by resolution. The camera is flexible enough that it shouldn't matter much. Um, Although it might make some things weird. I would have to play test that. Um, but as long as the UI scales cleanly between like 16 by 9, 16 by 10, and 20 what was it, 21 by 9. um, as long as it scales cleanly between those, then it should be fine, and I think it will. I think. I'm not sure how well right now. It might be a little squished, and I'll probably have to do some weird sort of pixel dimension changing to get things to work properly, which I already knew I was going to have to do because it's set to use a sort of default size right now. But in theory, it should automatically handle any aspect ratio. And once it gets through building all of the scenes, I probably didn't need to have it build all those. I could have just told it to only build the first couple because I only need to test. Well, it's kind of awkward. There's no real good way to handle resolutions in Unity. I don't know if there. I don't think there is in Unreal either. But resolutions are the worst part of it. Just because you can have the same aspect ratio of like 16 by 9, but you can have a pixel dimension or pixel density of say like 1080p, or you can go all the way up to 4K on the newer monitors. But that makes things look super small. So it's kind of awkward. You have to sort of take into account and tell Unity to interpret dimensions in a certain way. It's not hard. It's just kind of convoluted. Once it's finished building, we should be able to test and see. Because even though my monitor is 16 by 9, but I should be able to actually change the aspect ratio. Oh crap! So even though my monitor is 16 by 9, I should, as long as my graphics card supports odd resolutions. Although actually no, my graphics card can handle it. My monitor might not be able to support that. I can at least test it on 16 by 9 or 16 by 10. Options. Let's go to video. Let's see. I don't know my resolutions. That is okay. So it's not scaling cleanly. Boo. Well, thank you very much, and I'll probably be wrapping up anyway. But yeah, I'll look into that and getting that working, just because you're probably right. People will want that. So thank you very much for tuning in. This is sort of the thing I'll be working on, I think, for a little bit in the stream, just this sort of content creation stuff. But yeah, I think that'll do it for today. So thank you, Toyger101, for stopping by, and I will see you guys later.